ever nervous when you're going out on a run? In this video, I'll be giving you some safety pointers, so stay tuned. Hey there, Wrinkled Runner here. As a runner, I have to think about staying safe on every run. Most of the time I run with my husband, so I'm more concerned with safety from an environmental perspective, like not getting hit by a car, rather than being attacked. But unfortunately, we do have to think about both things. So I'm going to go over some pointers for you, taking into consideration those factors. Now, as a female runner, unfortunately, there are things that I have to keep in mind when I'm running alone. I do like to run with headphones, but I keep the volume down low so that I am more aware of my surroundings and tuned in. I find whether I am listening to music or a podcast, the louder that the volume is, the less that I pay attention. I live in a city, and there are definitely places I run with my husband that I wouldn't run alone, especially if it's dark. So I try to keep to more main roads that are well lit during the times that I run early in the morning, where I know that there will be people walking their dogs and cars on their way to work. Since I really enjoy variety, I don't really think too much about changing up my routes because I'm always running in different places all the time. But for some people, like my husband, he likes to run the same route all the time. So if you're like that and you kind of tend to run the same routes at the same time, think about changing them up a bit and changing the days that you run them and even changing the times. You're opening yourself up to people noticing when you run and the routes that you take when you're constantly doing the same thing. Even if you run a route backwards, starting from your starting point, run it the opposite way that you usually do, just keep changing it up a bit. Another thing we can all easily do is take our phone with us. And for some reason, there's this thing that there are some runners out there that think you're not a real runner if you take your phone, and I just don't understand that thinking at all. Even when I run with Dave, one of us always has our phone. You can't know what's going to happen on a run, whether you get hit by a car, have a medical issue, or get attacked. A phone could save your life in any of those situations. Check out my video on road ID. I have this on my iPhone here, and it just gives a bunch of information, and it has your medical information uploaded on a website that, if in the case of a medical emergency, they can actually look it up using the number that's on the ID and see some things that are an issue with you. For example, I'm allergic to sulfa drugs. I also have my blood type on there. There are apps that can track you and notify loved ones if something happens. Find out if whatever app you use has that capability. Now, I can share my location with Dave or anyone using my phone. So if I'm not back when I should be, they can see where I am. Also, you can text someone and say, hey, I'm going out for a run. If I don't check in an hour, just text and make sure everything's okay. My other tip is, unfortunately, you may want to learn some self-defense. Just little things that can help you if you need it. It's unfortunate that we have to worry about these things, but especially as women, there was a survey done a few years ago, and they found that the safety issues that we have to think about even before going out for a run filled up pages of the survey, while men basically said they could just go out for a run and not even think about it. When I've been alone, I've had drivers do stupid things like pretend to turn and then laugh hysterically when I stop for them. All the way to cars stopping, and then after I go ahead, they pull ahead and then pull over again, and then me going ahead. I had this happen once, and it was like the typical white van with no windows, and I was actually really, really scared. Now, whether this behavior had anything to do with me or not, it's not fun to have to think about these issues. And you know what, a lot of times when I'm out with my husband and we're running together in certain areas, I'll say, you know what, if I was running alone, I wouldn't be running here. Now, one thing I do if a dog is loose is I slow down and walk. Startling any dog can lead to a bite, and I feel like it's more dangerous if I'm running past than if I'm just walking. One of the best things we've done is buy a lighted vest. Now, these tubes here, they light up and they flash. We're visible to cars, and the flashing lights are different enough that we are attracting attention. Always make eye contact with the driver, even if you have the right of way. Make sure that they see you, especially if you're running during peak commuting times. I swear people who are driving to work are zombies on autopilot. And it's funny, you start to learn what drivers, are going to do before they actually do it. We can almost always tell when someone is going to run a red light or make a turn without looking at the crosswalk. Always expect that a driver is going to do the wrong thing. If a driver waves you on and it's safe to do so, don't start the game of waving him on and then he waves you on, etc. If they let you go, just go. When you start the waving game, one of you has to go, and it always ends up usually being both at the same time, and obviously that's dangerous. Make sure you're running against traffic. That means you can see the drivers coming. And for heaven's sake, use sidewalks if you have them. Sometimes in winter, I have to run in the street because I don't know why. It doesn't seem like anyone shovels sidewalks anymore. But I'm always ready to jump up on the lawns if I need to. Cross at crosswalks and lights where drivers are paying marginally more attention. And if there's snow, ice, rain, or even leaves on the ground and they're wet, make sure your footing is sure. When Dave and I ran in South Carolina last week, there were not the same amount of streetlights as we have on our regular runs here in Buffalo. And we could not see the sidewalks during the early morning runs. So I bought a lighted vest with a light that actually shines ahead of you to see what's ahead, and had that sent to my daughter's house there so that we can see what's on the sidewalk. A rock that you don't see can send you flying if your foot hits just right on a run. There are obviously many other hazards out there, and no matter what you do, you can never be 100% guaranteed that nothing is ever going to happen. But let's all be as prepared as we can be. Now, next week, I'll be talking about nutrients in the older runner and giving you some recipes to help fuel you with those nutrients using real food. We are coming to the end of January 2022, and if you are in the Buffalo, New York area, my in-person coaching season will be starting up soon. If you're interested in engaging a running coach and you are a new runner or would like to start, follow the link in the description to see what I can do for you. I only coach 3 runners at a time, so start the process now if you're interested. In addition to my YouTube channel, I also have a blog and podcast, and season 3 of the podcast has just begun, and I'll link you up to both of those down below. Sign up for my once a month newsletter so that you can be up to date with all things from me, the Wrinkled Runner. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the run.